The internet is on fire after a heated exchange between two incredible players, Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull. Whether you're a fan of raw competition, elite-level skill, or just enjoy the drama of the game, this moment has sparked conversation across the basketball world. And we're here to break it all down: who these players are, what makes their gameplay unique, and why this moment has everyone talking.
I think we were just resilient. You know, when they punch us in the mouth, we always found a way to answer. I think people stepped up when their number was called and they were put into the game and dug deep and made plays when we needed to.
Let's start with Caitlin Clark. If you've followed women's college basketball over the last few years, you already know her name. She's one of the most electrifying players in the game right now. Standing at 6 feet tall, Clark is a dynamic guard who thrives as both a scorer and a playmaker.
I think her energy, that's what I love about her. Like, it's just contagious, and it's fun. Like, I called her coach and she was like, I don't know about that yet. You'll have to see how I do during the game. So, no, but it's super fun. And then obviously Andy Myers drives out too. Getting to be around those two people that have done so much for the game, for me is super special. Like, there's still two people that I really look up to and idolize and appreciate everything that they've done. And for them to have this moment too and be a part of it, like, it's just super cool.
Her deep three-pointers have become legendary, often drawing comparisons to Steph Curry for her range and confidence. But it's not just her ability to pull up from anywhere on the court that makes her dangerous, it's how she controls the game. Clark plays with an aggressive tempo, always looking to push the ball in transition, find open teammates, and, if necessary, take over as a scorer. One of her biggest strengths is her vision.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like we probably should have gotten at least, could have gotten at least 2 more wins so far in the season. So it felt like we kept coming down to the wire, especially in the last 2 versus Connecticut and the Storm. And then we had every opportunity to find ways to win those games, and we just couldn't figure it out.
You know, for whatever reason, they decided to get themselves involved, whether it is actually malintent or maybe they just want to get themselves in the headline. A lot of players got the spotlight this season because of Caitlin Clark, not to mention just overall Caitlin Clark brought millions, literally, more eyeballs to the league this season.
I do not believe that anyone legitimately watched the two play and looked at the stat line and looked at the results of the team. Any metric you want to look at, there's not a single person who looked at that and said, I think Angel Reese is actually the Rookie of the Year. This was done for attention.
She's not just a shooter. She's a true floor general. She reads defenses exceptionally well, anticipating movements before they happen. That's why she racks up assists just as easily as points. Opponents know she can shoot from the logo, but when they overcommit, she'll thread the perfect pass to a cutting teammate or find an open shooter in the corner. Her IQ and quick decision-making make her nearly impossible to guard one-on-one. But Clark's aggressive playstyle also brings a fiery edge. She's competitive, emotional, and not afraid to let her presence be known on the court. That's why when tensions rise in a game, you can expect her to respond, whether it's with her play or her attitude. And that leads us right into the viral moment with Lexie Hull.
This is not a new thing.
Sure.
In that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player, I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued as a basketball player. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play. I think everybody in the league can say that. But nobody ever let us do that. So what happened? We started to build a backbone, a little bit of an identity. We understood that in order to push our league forward, we were going to have to combat these things. And then you know what else we learned? It feels good to stand up for yourself. It feels even better to stand up for others. We started to learn that people were learning from us.
Lexie Hull, a name just as respected in the basketball community, has built her reputation differently. Unlike Clark's flashy offensive style, Hull is a defensive-minded, high-energy player who prides herself on effort, hustle, and physicality. At 6 feet 1 inch, she has the size and athleticism to be a versatile defender, capable of guarding multiple positions.
I'm just really grateful that time by the game. I feel like the last, all 3 years, I've always worked really, really hard, and percentages don't lie. So, finishing those last 2 seasons and looking at my percentages just not being where I wanted them to be or where I thought they deserved to be for how much work I was putting in. So to be able to shoot well in the second half just really it meant a lot to me.
We'll go Chloe, then Christine.
Yeah, like just throughout the season, you kind of went from getting, did not plays to starting. Just what was that process like for you, just mentally, kind of with that changing role?
It's for me. I just had to trust the process, and I think everyone's career arc in the WNBA, even season arcs, just look different. And knowing that I was putting in the work, my teammates believed in me, my coaches believed in me, and it just wasn't the right time in the first half. So just staying the course, trusting the process, and I think now that we're at the end of the season, I think we're all very proud of the product we put out.
Her defensive instincts are elite. She reads passing lanes well, disrupts offenses, and never backs down from physical matchups. Hull's offensive game is more methodical. While she can shoot, she thrives in structured systems that rely on movement, spacing, and teamwork. Her strength lies in her ability to do the little things, setting hard screens, cutting at the right moments, boxing out, and making hustle plays that don't always show up on stat sheets. Players like Hull are often the backbone of a team, bringing consistency and grit that championship squads need. So when you put these two on the same court, it's a battle of styles.
What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age, but my parents were super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah, we grew up, my sister and I, playing a little bit of everything. At least for me, it happened really, really quick. We finished up the Final Four, and then a week later the draft happens, and then a few days after that, packing up my dorm room and moving to the Midwest. So it was a big transition, especially moving someplace that I had no connections, didn't know anybody there, didn't know anybody on my team. Coming in that year with a lot of rookies was really special. Coming in with people my age, people going through the same changes and transitions as me, I think really helped make it as easy as it could have been.
Clark, the flashy, confident scorer, and Hull, the relentless defender who takes pride in shutting down elite players. And in this recent matchup, the intensity between them reached a boiling point. The footage that's now viral shows a moment where Clark and Hull got into it, whether it was a hard foul, some trash talk, or a physical play that neither wanted to back down from. The tension was real. You could see it in their body language. Clark, never one to shy away, had something to say. Hull, known for her tough mentality, didn't back down. This wasn't just a random play. It was a collision of two highly competitive players who both refused to lose. Reactions to the moment have been mixed. Some fans love seeing this type of passion in the game. They argue that moments like these are what make basketball exciting. Two players going at it, pushing each other to the limit. Others question whether things got too heated, debating if this type of intensity crosses the line. Either way, it's clear that the competitive fire between Clark and Hull is exactly what makes the sport so thrilling. Looking at the bigger picture, this moment speaks to something even larger.
The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player likely from their high school team. So it's just this mishmash of the best basketball players, and then you're playing against people that have been there for years and years.
We were just sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that. Part of my role is just getting to the open spots, and we have such a good offense that people find the open person. So to be that open person, you get excited. You get excited for the opportunity to shoot and score and be part of the the momentum.
Looking at the offensive side of the ball, what is it like playing off of Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston?
I mean, they make my job really easy, right? It's awesome. And I definitely learned when to space, when to spread the floor out, but then also it's fun when the defenses stop staring at the ball. That's a perfect opportunity to back cut because they will know that you're going down to the basket. So it's just fun for me to get to read and really just read and react. I think that's really all cutting in.
Women's basketball has been growing rapidly in popularity, and players like Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull are a big reason why. Clark brings the highlight reel plays that attract mainstream attention, while Hull represents the hard-nosed, relentless work ethic that keeps teams in championship contention. Their clash isn't just about one game. It's about the evolution of the sport and the increasing intensity of competition at the highest level. Both players have bright futures ahead of them. Clark's ability to score and facilitate will make her a top prospect for the WNBA, where she'll likely continue to break records and shift the way people view women's basketball. Hull, with her defensive prowess and versatility, will continue making an impact wherever she plays, whether that's as a key role player on a championship team or as a defensive specialist who shuts down the league's best scorers.
They garner so much attention, obviously, from the other team's defense. So then it allows the other players, me included, to make cuts, make reads, and they're really good at finding, those openings and giving the ball up when it's needed and finding the better shots. So it's really fun, and I feel really lucky to get to play with them.
Watching the Fever as a whole, but watching Caitlin when she's out there, just the passes that she is willing to try, and some of the tight windows that she'll toss out there, obviously the transition outlets and stuff. How much of an adjustment was it for you to play off of someone that passes like that?
I mean, I definitely got passes and tried to finish when I wasn't expecting to get the ball. So now it's okay, every cut I have, every cut I make, every fast break I run, I have a real opportunity to get the ball, which definitely took me a second. And I think it really just took one of those to really get my head around oh, she's all the way down at the other end of the floor and she could still make the pass to me down at the block at this end. So, it's been awesome. She sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, if I miss, she's definitely going to say you got the next one. I can count on her for keeping me confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the player that she is and the leader she is as a point guard. Fans have put on her, so to see her kind of be so mature in that transition, it's been really awesome, and I'm just really proud to have her on the team, and it's been exciting.
The Indiana Fever had a history-making year. What was that like for you to be a part of that?
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to not only play in the WNBA, but to be on a team like the Indiana Fever. I've seen so much growth, not only on the team side, how we're performing on the court, but also the growth in fans. On the road, it felt like home games. We're playing in sold-out arenas that we have not played in the last 2 years before that. So, it's just really exciting.
One more thing Lexie Hull worked on and significantly improved was her shooting.
Get closer.
All right, now going to the shooting, as Steve and I both talked about how amazing the shooting was for you, particularly post-Olympic break. Was there a jumper tweak? Was there just a level of comfort that you found? What would you attribute that kind of stretch to?
So what does this viral moment really mean? At its core, it's about passion. It's about two athletes who refuse to back down, who want to win at all costs, and who understand that greatness isn't just about talent, it's about mindset. Clark and Hull embody two different styles of play, but they share the same competitive fire that separates good players from great ones. As the season continues, this moment will likely fuel even more intensity in future matchups. Will Clark use this as motivation to take over even more? Will Hull look to make another defensive statement against one of the best scorers in the game? Either way, the basketball world will be watching. One thing's for sure, this won't be the last time Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull find themselves in the middle of a must-watch moment. The game is evolving, rivalries are forming, and players are stepping up to the challenge like never before. And that's exactly what makes basketball so special.
I personally liked it because in my head, when I'd leave practice, I was thinking about the 5 shots that I missed or the 10 shots that I missed. It was clicking after the break. And I think a lot of it is mental. I didn't change anything about my shot. I didn't change the amount of shots I was getting in practice. All of that preparation stuff. So it gave me confidence that I was performing better than I think I was perceiving my performance. So I think it all comes down to the mental side, at least for me in that second half. All of these people were supporting me this whole time, and I didn't know that they were supporting me until that moment. So you kind of forget that there's these people behind the scenes until they come out of the woodwork and say I've been following along this whole time. I'm so proud of you. And that just feels so good to know that there's